press record. And let's talk about the new feature, Steve.
The reuse ads. And this is a big feature with or without the Facebook changes, but it is really handy with the Facebook changes coming up. So what I thought I would do is I would talk a little bit about those for a couple reasons, because I know a lot of people are going to be asking about them more. You're going to be seeing more and more real estate agents freaking out in the different Facebook groups about the changes or just asking questions about it. So I want to sort of let you know how they affect you and how they also don't affect you. So here's the big difference. So the Facebook changes, just to quickly recap, they do seem scary, is that you can no longer target by zip code, right? That seems like the big one. And you have to have this 20-mile radius, and you can't do lookalike audiences, and it seems all bad.
When's that change happen?
Well, so the change actually came into effect, not for you guys, but for other real estate agents that are launching ads through the ads manager. That actually came into effect sort of the third week of August. So it's in effect now. And so there's a special ads category that people have to check off and a bunch of different things. So the two things, first of all, it actually doesn't affect you guys yet. Because you're launching your ads through Streettext, we have an extended runway. These changes for us don't come live until November. And even when the changes do come live, there's a number of things that we've already put in place that are going to make it better for you guys going forward versus other real estate agents. And we get a lot more time to experiment and play with. And we've actually already been doing a bunch of experiments. And there's really not much for you guys to have to worry about. So first thing I want you to know is that when you see other agents panicking, you don't have to panic. Now, if you are launching any of your own ads through the ads manager, so not through Streettext, but from the ads manager, you do have to apply to the new rules. So everything I'm telling you right now is only if you're launching ads through the Streettext side. If you're launching ads on the own ad manager, you do need to self-select that you are launching an ad that has a special under the special category. If you don't do that, your ad will just get disapproved. So you're going to need to do that going forward. At some point, we will be moving our ads over to that special ad category as well. And there's a couple other things that we do along on the pixel side that actually help your ads perform better. And one of the things that we do is when I probably you saw us speaking about it a little bit in the past, but actually if you go through your system and you can bring it up maybe for a second, Marcus, in someone's account, just go to the contact page. Okay. So this is one thing that we do. We leverage Facebook's offsite pixel data. You have to just
I'm gonna share the screen. I'm gonna share the screen here.
But whenever you go ahead and select that a lead is a good lead, so you can see here, if you go ahead and you don't have to click because we're actually in somebody's account right now. But if you were to select talk to or got an appointment or a listing contract, two things are going to be passed back. Oh, don't put it in, but
I won't do it.
Two things that are going to be sent back to Facebook: both the location of that ad, so the zip code of that lead, as well as the lead itself. And we're sending all that stuff back to Facebook. So as you actually update your contacts on an ongoing basis, that data is actually, through the offsite pixel, is telling Facebook more and more of the leads that you're looking for. So that's one thing. And there's another thing that we do that we can't actually talk about yet. It's still fairly new, but it is actually quite exciting, as well as how to make sure that you guys can get leads in the areas that you're looking for. So now that I've talked about that, let's talk about the reuse feature. So if you go reuse ads, if you go back to funnels to the bottom, sorry if I'm losing my voice a little bit, and feel free, guys, if you do have questions on this, I'm going to be around, so I can answer other further questions. But let's talk about this first for a moment. So even without the Facebook changes, this is a great tool. So if you go to the funnels page, you would see Marcus would have clicked on the funnels. You're going to land on where you would see normally all of the different ads you can run. If you
all the way to the bottom.
Scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see this one that just says reuse ad right now. What this feature is doing is like, let's say you're running an ad, like let's talk about Donna for a moment, and let's say she's running an ad in Fort Worth. And based on the teaching that we've always been teaching you guys, is that if that ad starts to lose performance, but you still want leads in Fort Worth, for example, you're going to go ahead and you're going to relaunch a new ad. You're going to reset that algorithm. It's one of the things that we do. Now, that ad historically has been essentially identical than the one you were using before. It's just reset. Or simplest words, but ideally, typically, we can improve the performance. Engagement. So I hope we didn't freeze there. I hope you guys can still hear me. Looks like everything's frozen for a second. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. Right? It's catching up. So
catching up. Okay.
Is it freezing a little bit there?
Okay, well, I apologize if you guys lost me there for a second. Just feel free to ask some questions. But basically what I was saying is that when you normally, Marcus always has a million windows open. I always wonder if that's
It's like a fourth of what I usually have.
Okay. So instead of relaunching an ad in the same area, in the case of, say, for Donna Fort Worth, if she was to now go and she wants, let's say her ad's not performing well, she wants to test it, she can actually go down to the bottom and click select. She's going to see, we're going to make it so you can only see Streettext posts, but right now you're going to see any posts that you have in here. So if you do have other posts in here, you may just have to scroll a little bit or use the search feature to find what you're looking for. But see, the cool thing is now if I go and say, want to use her ad for, say, Fort Worth, let's just pick this one, for example. It takes a second to load up, so give it a little bit of a moment. But you'll see now we can keep all of her social engagement. So she's already got 121 likes on this ad. She's got 54 comments, and she's already got 6 shares on this ad. So now she can go relaunch the same ad using all of our pixel data to try to reset the algorithm and also tell Facebook, hey, I want more of these people going forward. But she can keep the social engagement going forward. This will also work when we relaunch her ads in the future under the new Facebook changes, even though some of the changes will alter the targeting that you currently have, and we have some mechanisms around that. But as these changes do alter your targeting, we can still keep all the social engagement of your ad going forward. And this is actually a big step in the right direction to make sure that your ads still perform really well. So she would just go ahead and click next. She would, in this case, because it's a Fort Worth ad, she would just match whatever the targeting was. This is going to drop in the future. Right now, you can just kind of ignore it because Facebook itself, under the new changes, is not going to target by age. And to be honest, guys, we really haven't been relying on age either. When we started running ads for clients on Facebook, we used to use a lot of targeting. And the reason that I am not at all worried about these changes going forward, especially the way that we use the system, is that Facebook's pixel, the algorithm, is so good now that if you give it the right data like we do, we've actually been relying much more on really opening up the targeting anyways and using the pixel data. So that being said, I know that there's going to be some discomfort around the zip codes, but you really aren't going to have to worry about it. And as we go through that, we'll let you guys know how to reset those ads to make sure that they're working right. But so you don't have to do anything right now around the new changes because that's not going to come to November, but this is still a great way to relaunch an ad that keeps the social engagement. You just click next. You could put in, I would go ahead and just change this to say, you could say Fort Worth. You could say, you could say reuse, or you could just, basically it doesn't even really matter, but you want to name it because otherwise it's just going to name it reuse. Leave it on conversions. Conversions are still performing the best. Leave it, pick your daily budget and hit deploy, and away you go. So I know I'm talking about 2 things simultaneously here. I'm talking about the Facebook changes, but just put the Facebook changes on pause right now. The main thing is that if you're going to actually test, if you've got an ad that has good social engagement and you want to go and relaunch that ad because you're not enjoying its ads performance, definitely use the reuse ad feature within your Streettext account. So maybe I can just answer a few questions on that, and then because I saw a couple questions come in, and then
simply just unmute yourself, guys.
Well, I think
Mark's about that. Let's say you had an ad. Let's say you had that was performing well, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. Could you go in there and reuse that ad now and redo it and go ahead? Because that was a frustration a lot of people had.
And Donna, we were just in her account. She's a great example where she really just cares about a few certain areas, and she's loved those areas for a long time. And now whenever her performance drops, she has to go and basically start over from fresh. Now she doesn't have to anymore. She can just keep using that ad and keep building the social engagement. And the really nice thing about that is that when the ad goes live again, because it has a social engagement, it doesn't look like a brand new ad to people. And it actually does have an impact on the algorithm because people get more social proof from it. They interact with the ad faster, which means that Facebook looks at your ad and goes, wow, this ad's doing really well at the beginning of its performance. They give it a really high score, and it actually does better than a straight 0 social engagement ad. So now for some of you, if you've never really don't have much social engagement, or you're launching your first ad, for example, that's not really going to be the case. You're going to just go and launch an ad initially, let it build some social engagement, but now going forward, you can reuse that one over and over and over again in that same area. And then on the second part, when we start moving your ads over for the Facebook changes, this is going to be a great tool to do that and to make sure that you don't lose your social engagement going forward as well.
I think on that, if you want to start getting great social proof, part of that is being proactive and actively looking at your ads and always asking questions when comments happen. And another part of it is, as we talk about in a lot of our daily live trainings, is sharing that post with the original post, right? You have to check that, sharing that post to your personal sphere, and you'll get comments there too. You can even ask people that you know to comment on it to get some social proof. Facebook won't know the difference. And all of a sudden you'll get great social proof, and then you can reuse that ad over and over again.
So I'm just going to answer a couple of questions here on the side. So it looks like Tammy's question was answered by Logan. Does the new changes in Facebook only apply to ads built in the ads manager, not ads that are boosted? No. So if you're using the ads manager for anything, including boosting posts, they're going to be under the new rules. Because we never do anything with boosted posts, I'm not sure how Facebook has set that up, but I imagine that they got that figured out on their end. But if you're launching an ad on your own outside of Streettext, the new rules do apply. If you are launching an ad through Streettext, the rules do not currently apply, if that makes sense. Okay, any other questions on that?
No, but I'll give you one. There's a lot of people that have sat there complained about stuff in the ads manager. Their stuff has stopped running because what happened is the algorithms kicked in and they didn't make the changes, and the old ads are no longer acceptable, and they haven't realized that to go back and change them.
One of the really nice things that you guys get with us too right now is that as Facebook's been adapting their algorithm and as people are launching ads, there is some frustration because it's a new process of Facebook's getting a few bugs out of the way. Fortunately, we get it to be much more bug-proof by November. So for those that are testing, you will see some frustration. I've seen some frustration in groups that people are trying to figure out how to make the ads work. We're not seeing that. We've already been doing some of our own testing on under the new rules of Facebook, even through Streettext, and it seems fine. So I'm really not worried going forward, and I would be worried. I'd let you guys know if I was worried. I'm not worried at all. And the other thing that's going to happen, I think, this is just something that I think just from a sentiment standpoint, is that two things are going to happen. One is the realtors' desire to generate leads from Facebook isn't going to go away, but I have a feeling that if they're struggling to get results, that actually may make it like a little less competitive even for you guys, for some of the average people that are trying to run their ads. So we may even see a slight drop on ad cost as we move forward in the next little bit. So that could be it could be a little bit of a side positive if there's a little less money being spent on the ads. That'll be a good thing for you guys too.
And Richard had a question here. Why not click talked to on every lead? Now, Richard, essentially the reason why you wouldn't want to do that is because as soon as somebody clicks on your ad on Facebook and becomes a lead in your account, Facebook's already kind of prioritizing that person already. Now, the ability to talk to, got the appointment, got the listing, close the deal, it's just increasing the likelihood and moving them up in the hierarchy, so to speak, right? So they're already in your account. They're already being added to your preferred audience and added into your targeting already. So this is an opportunity to move them up that list any more. So if you move them all the way to like a closed deal, they're being prioritized as far as we can tell Facebook to prioritize them. So you don't necessarily want to click talk to unless you've got a conversation started. However, I have mentioned to a few people that seems to be working, even if you haven't got a conversation started, but you look at the lead and you've done some research and it's a great home in a great area, maybe then you could click talk to because you want to say, hey, find me more people like that. But you really want to save that for those people who are taking the conversation further, right? That's kind of the purpose why we've done this, is to tell Facebook, find me more people like this. So once again, even if you haven't got a conversation, but after researching, it's a really good looking home, then maybe you'd want to do that.
That's exactly right.
Good point. Good point. Anything else you guys want to add on to that? So subject would be on the Facebook rules and the what is it called? Repost. Reuse.
Oh, we may rename it. It wasn't maybe the best.
I like repost.
Yeah. Well, yeah, repost, reuse.
I think we need to spitball on this.
But in a nutshell, the changes are happening to everybody, but we're definitely not that concerned about them. We got a couple mechanisms in place to make it so that your ads perform better. And right now, you guys don't have to worry unless you're launching ads on the ad manager side.
Cool.
Yeah, and that reuse is a big deal regardless of changes. Definitely relaunch your ads using that to keep that social engagement going forward. You know, even yesterday, I forget who it was, but somebody was writing in the Streettext Insider group that they had just done their first deal and they got a second listing from one of the comments. That's the power of the comments if they're done right. And, you know, back to people like Don, but I know a lot of people, if you can get and comment, even if it's a negative one, try to spin it, because lo and behold, somebody else will comment on, and then it just keeps going.
Here's another thing that you guys all know how I love video. You can create video comments now.
Oh,
have you noticed that? Anybody? Respond with a video comment. Come on, who's gonna be doing it? Respond with a video. Leon, you're gonna be doing it. I know you will be. Yeah. Everyone respond with video comments. I think it has to be done from the smartphone, but do it. It's going to be a game changer because no one's going to see something like that. And you can never get something confused. So, and I always ask, whenever you get a comment, respond with a question. You'll get more engagement, dialogue, and all of a sudden you get social proof building for you.
And one thing I wanted to add on that here also is that while Facebook removes targeting parameters, they're adding other things. Every time they remove something, just realize that something else has been added in the background. So if you do have the ability to do something like we're mentioning, you know, video comments, anything like that, there's a reason for it. It's going to increase engagement. So while you may not be able to say, hey, I'm looking for people of a certain age group or a certain category, they are able to still find people of that nature. So make sure that you're using whatever tools that are available to help you find the best people.
Yeah. And actually on that note, so it wasn't last Facebook F8, like it wasn't the last Facebook conference, but it was the conference before, Richard, when we were there, that they started modifying their ads performance based on comments. And the reason being is that they wanted to make sure that the ads were having social engagement. So even if you're not getting the best comments, try to reply. And, you know, and ask Streettext Insider community, you know, some of the best ways of doing it. But if I pulled up guys, and the problem is that, you know, people that are using it around some are just quiet, but if you pull up a guy like Isaac Verge, who's a client of ours and been for the last 5 years, on his ad, he must have like 300 comments now. Like, it is insane. And I know Dawn has tons and tons on hers, and they do everything they can to try to turn the conversation. Remember, you always have the ability to hide it if it goes sideways or south, or it's truly something that you don't want. But even on our own ads that we run for Streettext, for the most part, we leave the comments, attempt to engage, do everything we can to keep them alive. We will pull out a comment, though, if it's truly just misleading, false, or you know, just bad. I mean, there are some comments that you're going to get that are just like trolling basically, or something negative, right? But if you can, try to respond to them. And there's actually an easy way you can find your comments too. If you go, Marcus, if you share your screen again, and if you go to the ads, I think you have to go, just go to the ads, click on ads. If you ever want to see if you got any comments on your post, this is an easy way to quickly find any of the ads that you're running on the Streettext side.
And Richard, those are tough, right? I mean, anything like that especially, I mean, it can be, you know, have a political angle. Obviously, you want to try to avoid those whenever possible when running real estate ads. You know, it's not the place to take a position on anything, really, in my opinion. However, you know, it's a frequently asked question section, really, is what the comments are. And if you are in an area where, you know, things are being discussed like that, it may still be a good opportunity to come in and kind of be I don't want to say wet blanket, but to a point, you know, you don't want to say, hey, build the well or don't build the well. Obviously, you want to leave that one alone. But you might want to come in and basically just remind people the fact that the reason for this ad is to help everybody. You know, there are ways to take even a negative comment and kind of cool it down. And, you know, as Brenda was saying in hers, you know, she even got an apology from one. So somebody can come in and say something somewhat negative. If you handle it professionally and don't egg them on one way or the other, you know, there is an opportunity for you to kind of bring that down. And then what I should typically see is then other people who are coming in who may want to add fuel to the fire, so to speak, have seen the way that you've handled it, and they're like, I'm all right. Right, so they may either not comment at all, or kind of the comments may end up getting better. And as Steve was mentioning, if you've attempted to do so and they're not going well, get rid of that thread altogether, right?
Yeah, and so if you're on your ad side, if you click on view your ad above any of your ads, you will get taken directly to the ad. And then you can see an example, you know, she's got 117 comments on this ad, and she just goes back and forth and she responds. And I mean, I'd have to go through all these, but I guarantee that there's going to be some negative ones for sure that aren't good for her. Like, you know, people that say things like, you know, get off my feed, or I'm never going to sell. And she just does her best to respond to wherever she can. And so I encourage you to do it if you can. I do think that it actually really does make a big difference. And based on the fact that this is 2 years running now with Facebook's changes to focus ads in on comments, I think it's really important if you can.
Well, overcoming objections is part of the conversion process anyway. And the biggest one I get is, oh, this is a scam or this or that. I think the number one thing is, oh, they're just going to sell all your information to all these other people and this and that. So what I do is I've got a little blurb about the privacy thing where we do not sell to third-party vendors and whatever. And I legitimize myself by telling them, hey, I am in the Renton area, a member of the Chamber of Commerce, this and that. I make myself legit. And at that point, if they're still just going to be negative, take them off your page.
That's true. And to that point, Leon, that might be a great video one, right? Like that may even be so not only are you answering the question, but people feel like they get to meet you or see you. And it's even better than the text-based comment. So that could be great. What if agents can see those comments of an interested seller? It's possible, but I mean, again, somebody's going to have to be like looking at that, and then they're going to have to take action on that. I think much more likely you're going to have results from that, and I mean, we see it from agents that are interacting with a seller. And remember, every time you're interacting with a possible seller, their friends are seeing that interaction too. So I think if I was you, I'd be much more worried about the people that are not seeing that conversation that could be good for you than the one or two realtors that might be seeing it that are going to have to take action on that to try to, pull somebody away. So personally, I would be all over it.
Don't they have to be on your page anyway, the other agents?
Yeah, they'd have to be seeing that. And I mean, it's one of those, I just really wouldn't worry about it. Like, I feel as though you're going to have more results if you can have those positive engagements than the odd realtor that's going to try to come after them. And I mean, it can happen, but I feel like you're more in the driver's seat of winning the conversation anyways, versus somebody else that's trying to like cherry pick it.
You mean to tell me realtors would do something like that?
Not the right one.
Not the right one. And guys, we get a lot of that too. We call it piggybacking. You probably see it. I mean, we'll have a lot of people that will post links on our ads to try to piggyback off of our ad spend to promote other things. And those ones I typically delete because they're just piggybacking. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have the odd realtor or a person that's going to go after it. I mean, but, you're going to have the odd person versus all of the positive that can come out of it if it starts to blow up. And I guarantee on Donna's post there's going to be lots of people that have indicated that they're selling. And she has much more success with those, especially since she's getting a relationship. And if you guys are using video comments, feel like they know you. Why do they even want to work with someone else anyways, even if somebody comes after them? They feel like they're already talking to you.
I've also actually found the community comes kind of for the save every so often too. I've seen it where another agent will post something, hey, if what you're looking for is yada, yada, yada. And somebody from within the community comes and calls them out basically because, people realize regardless of what industry you're in, that something like that, if you're trying to hijack somebody else's post, it's not a good look. Right? Create your own post, create your own ads, create your own momentum. People jumping on other posts, it's not actually seen favorably among the community typically from what I've seen. So I wouldn't be too overly concerned with that.
That's true. Cool.
All right.
Well, I'll leave you guys on that. If you get any other questions though, as we go forward, let us know. Oh, actually, the only other thing I was going to add is that we are beefing up our stats on the Facebook side as well, obviously as changes are taking place. So as a result, we are going to have the occasional misfire on the odometer. When you get the odometer emails that are going to say your ad's not performing. And we did have a bit of a misfire today. So I do apologize for that. So if you got a few alarming emails around your ads today, some of those will actually be some misfire. So I do apologize. As we're just really increasing the data from Facebook, we have the occasional, like the odometer is very sensitive. It wants to let you know if anything's not performing. And so there's always a chance there can be a misfire.
Just keep your eyes on the CPC and the cost per lead.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big things. You don't worry about so much about the odometer. As long as your cost per lead sits with those parameters that we've established, that's where I'd be looking.
Totally. Cool, guys. Well, have a great rest of your mastermind and join you guys soon.
All right, Logan.
Yeah, I'd say am I muted? No. Okay, look at this. I'd say let's get into wins while we got it. Anybody want to start with what's obviously working for you? What are you doing with your emails? What do you like? What's working right now? Who wants to start with some wins? You got hands? Anybody?
Bueller.
Let's see. Misty, you want to start? Tell us about what's going on over there.
Sure. Well, I'm new at this, so I don't know. I do have a lot of wins. We have listed, I think we're at 9 or 10 at this point. So I've only been doing it, what, a month, 2?
I'd say 3-4 weeks, something like that. I
Yeah.
think you're in.
Would you just say 10 listings with 1 month?
Yes.
Okay, you got to share how you did that.
I think a lot of it, we do have a lot of technology in the works. So on top of what Streettext does, you know, they go into our database, and we do have a lot of technology with videos that come out. And but really, honestly, for me, it's just getting in front of them as quickly as possible, setting the appointment and getting in front of them. These people, I've always loved home value leads. I love this because I don't have to get into Facebook and do, you know, the work myself. It's kind of done for you. But like any online lead, no matter what phase they are, it's get in front of them and build rapport as soon as possible. So I think that's really where it's going is, you know, it's a free service. I'm happy to give you the information. There's no obligation. When can I come by and take a look at the house? And we can chat. And I am a great resource for, you know, anything that you might want to know. Even if you're going to be making a move in 2 years, that's okay. At least you'll have the information and you can make an educated decision. So that's number one. The struggle that I'm getting to now is that I'm going on so many appointments. I can't be behind the computer doing this. So I'm trying to use leverage and get, I have an admin staff that helps, but it's always better if it's you. I will tell you that. That's the struggle that I'm getting into is now, if I had 3 or 4 more hours during the day, I could get that many more appointments. And another thing is, don't pre-qualify these people. I mean, this really goes not into the technology, but it goes into don't pre-qualify them. If they've raised their hand, go meet with them, get in front of them. More so than not, these people sign a listing agreement the day that I meet them. I think, you know, I'm driving down the road going, oh my gosh, I don't know if they're going to list. I could be doing 1,000 other things instead of home previews. But the reality is half the time I'm really surprised that it's like, yeah, okay, sounds great. Let's do it. Where do I sign? And I'm like, wow, you know, holy cow. If I would have pre-qualified that, I would have never gotten in front of them. So that's the way I'm doing it. As far as technique, obviously whatever's going on in the background with Streettext, which I'm still learning with the AI or the texting and all of that. But from there, they go into our database. I don't call them because they don't want to be called. Like most online leads these days, they don't respond well to calls. So I do a lot of texting and I go for the appointment from the minute they come in. You know, thanks for inquiring. I want to make sure you get the information you need. Do you have any questions? When can I come by? That's great. Here you go. When can I come by? When can I come by? And I don't give up until they say, how about tomorrow? Or, you know, whatever. And so then I'm in front of them and then it goes from there.
Wow. That's awesome. And I think that's so incredibly important is that we're always so concerned with how we're spending our time that I think that's a pretty common thing to do is to pre-qualify people to say, okay, you know, these people it doesn't sound like they're ready to go right away. So I'm not going to focus my energy there. And I think that, you know, oftentimes, and we say this all the time, people will delay their buying signals. Oftentimes I find that it's the same thing as when you're trying to buy something retail, right? And I say this all the time in our other courses is that, you know, they're not going to tell you, yes, I'm ready to list my home right now all the time. They're going to tell you things that are a delay sign, right? They're going to say, you know, we're considering this, or we might do this. They're not going to say, hey, I'm ready to, and I need to sell my home, right? You need to discover that yourself. And I think the only way to gain that trust is, and build that rapport is exactly that. Get face-to-face and build that rapport. So any opportunity for you to get in the door, even if you know that they're not ready to sell, like Misty was saying, for the next year or 2 even, what better opportunity to get face-to-face, show them you're a real person, show them that you're there for more than just that listing. You're there to actually help them. And even if they don't list with you right away, what's the likelihood of you getting a referral from that? Mm-hmm. Right?
That's what I was going to say is I have met so many people. I've been on a lot of appointments that I didn't get the listing, but it's come to other opportunities. So maybe their neighbor or their friend, or they're looking to buy an investment property. I was able to get in front of somebody this last weekend who first thing he said when he walked up to the door, he said, "We're not going to sell this property." And I'm thinking in my mind, okay, well then why am I here? But I came from a real place of, tell me more. What is it? Why, what can I do to help you? And so finally, after I built rapport with him, come to find out he's a huge developer in the area who builds houses, across the state of Texas. And I was like, I am in a gold mine. No, I'm not going to get this listing today. I might get this listing in 2 years when he gets unattached emotionally to it. But I just walked into a gold mine where now I built rapport with a builder who I can go have coffee with, and we have something in common. I thought, wow, there's the opportunity, not in this one listing. So.
And we had a good question for you here. Now, are you sending CMAs? Like when these leads come in, are you sending them anything in the mail, email, or anything like that other than what, the videos and everything?
I followed everything that is in the facts that you guys have online. So all the Donna stuff and the letters and all of that. I follow all of that. And the way I handled the CMAs is I put them, we use FirePoint as a CRM. So I put them on a home value automated thing to where, they get something immediately. And then I follow up with, that's automated. It's not accurate. When can I come see your house so I can bring you something in person? If they are that person that's like, no, we don't want you to, come see it, and I really can't get the appointment, I will send them an RPR report without the numbers. So it has all of that cool charts and information and the graph that shows the value of their house and how it's gone up, but I'll remove the pricing information. And then I tell them again, it's not accurate, but it's a great analysis of what's going on in the market. Can I come by and take a look at the house? So that's all I send. As far as like a CMA, I don't give the farm away. I give the farm away by me showing up and saying, I will bring all the information you need. I'm the magic key to all of this, and I will bring all of that with me. But you don't get it for free.
So here's a taste. When you want the full meal.
You don't give them a range. You said you don't give them a range, or you do give them a range?
I do not. I give them an RPR report that has a graph that, so in an RPR report, if anybody uses those, they're fabulous. You can remove the pricing information. So it gives like 9 or 10 pages of awesome information, but I remove the range. I used to give them the range and they were like, thank you, awesome, have a great day. When I stopped giving them that, now if they're truly, and when I say motivated, again, if they truly want this information, which is an indicator to us as agents that maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's next year, but that they're motivated and they really need to get that information, I don't give it to them unless they meet with me up front or meet with me in person.
Wow. And I just noticed you have a bomb video in your initial email, right? It's a 17-second long one. And so that's your like immediate email that goes out with a video?
Yeah.
And then any other video after that?
Everything else runs through our CRM. So I have campaigns built out in our CRM. So they get on a text campaign. So the minute it goes in, a text goes out that says, hey, thank you for, so they're getting what you guys have and they're getting what I have, but they're 2 different flavors, right? And they're 2 different phone numbers. I'm okay with that. I'm okay because even if they scream at me and go, oh my gosh, I heard from 2 people, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I'm sorry, that was my assistant. She just want to make sure that we didn't drop the ball and that you got what you wanted. So I'm here to take over now.
I love it. Wow, that's cool. And I was looking at, you run a lot of ads. So just so everybody knows, I mean, what's your daily ad spend at this moment?
I have no idea. I think I have like 10 or 11 ads at $9 a day. So, and I have not been great. That's why I'm on here today. I've not been great with getting in there. I learned a lot just from the beginning of this, knowing how to recycle those ads. I've not been great in getting in there. I have so many leads that are coming in. I'm seriously like overwhelmed with just the numbers that are coming in. But now looking at it, I do need to go in there and fix some stuff. And I need to start interacting with my post, which I did that while we were on the beginning of this. So there's a lot of improvement that I can make. But at this point, I'm thrilled that I'm getting tons of leads and I don't have to do anything realistically.
So to reiterate, you said you've been on 10 appointments or you have 10 listings?
I have 10 listings.
10 listings and how
Yeah,
many?
I have ginormous goals though. So I'm listing 100 homes in the next 150 days. So Streettext is really right now my biggest lead source. I also do other ones, but those are Streettext.
Wow. And are you like team? How many people on your?
That's just my numbers. I am a team leader. Yes, I'm a team leader, but those are I just want to do that for myself.
Amazing.
Got to set goals. Yeah.
That's incredible. You're an inspiration to us all.
Oh,
Now,
thanks.
We did have one other question here. Roughly how many appointments would you say you've gone on so far to get those?
So I will tell you more so than not, if you can get in front of these people and you know how to overcome objections, that will be your best skill when you're getting in front of these people. They will throw objections at you. We're not ready. We were just curious. I'm an awesome objection handler. So my conversion, I've been doing this for a really long time. So that's one skill that serves me well. But I would say I'm at about a 50% hit rate. On total appointments, I don't know Streettext because I also do expireds, but I excluded those from my numbers. I probably go on 3 to 5 appointments a day.
Awesome.
Watch out, Donna. Misty's coming.
I've been doing this a really long time though. I'm not a newbie. I've definitely been doing this, and I do run a very large team, so I'm pretty skilled in that area. But I can tell you, and I love this more than anything, if I can do it, I have not been in front of sellers in 3 years. This is a new thing for me. I kind of got bored. So I stepped back in and said, I'm going to go list some houses and I'm just going to go for the gusto and see if I've still got it. So if I can do it though, I promise anybody can do it. Just be able to know an objection versus know the difference between a solid rock wall no and just an objection, because these people, it's actually really fun because they will throw a lot of objections at you. But if you can overcome those, and really it's just asking them, why, getting 7 levels deep below, why they're not ready today when the market's so amazing. Why would you wait? If you can get below that, you can get listings on these people. I promise.
Yeah, I would. I mean, Logan, I know you were something to say, but if you were to give the mastermind and anybody that actually watches this later, some fundamentals that you would, as a takeaway, based on like, if there are 3 things you need to take away based on, when a lead comes in, on the way you need to follow up them to get that appointment, what would they be?
3 things that you need to do.
Yes.
Or did you ask me, or were you asking?
Yeah, Misty, I was asking you, like, specifically, if there are 3 things you knew would get some sort of ability for you to get into that walk through their home or whatever that was.
Yeah. So you've got to reach out. You've got to have urgency when they come in. Do not wait. Urgency. They have raised their hand right now. If you respond right now, which is my struggle, I do have automation, but right now, the urgency of remember as an agent, you have a lot of tools that these people don't have. And I think a lot of times we underestimate what value we bring to the table. Come from a place of, I can help you. So urgency with, I know, whatever, today may not be the day, but I want to make sure you get the information you want. So quickly do that. And then consistently follow up. Even the ones that say no, I've listed a couple that have given me a solid no on day 1, but on day 3 or day 7, they become yeses. So don't take a no as a solid no. Consistently follow up. Remember that these people have raised their hand and they're looking for something for you, and you hold the magic key to that. They can't get this information on Zillow. It's not accurate. They can't get access to the MLS. They don't have the time to do it. So consistently follow up. And then, honestly, just go for the appointment and trust that something good is going to come out of it. So getting belly to belly with a potential seller is so much more valuable any day of the week over sitting behind your computer.
Well said.
Yeah, and all I was going to say is essentially, I that's kind of how I've always, done my business as well. Is no is really just the beginning of a very long conversation, right? I mean, there's the proper way of taking no. As what I mean by that is one, and kind of like Misty alluded to as well, is you have to understand why that no was there, right? Is it a deflection or is it a hard no? And why are they? You have to really uncover what that no truly means, because if it's a no, it's a hard no, and you ask too many questions and you ask the wrong questions, you can push them further away, of course. But oftentimes you can truly take that initial deflection and overcome it and turn that no into a yes really quickly, so long as you do have those appropriate negotiation skills, right? And you overcome those objections, of course.
So Richard asks, what do you take on your appointment to a Streettext lead? Like, what do you take over there to their home?
So I'm probably a bad example of what you should take. I'm in the Austin, I'm in outside of Austin market. I don't have a lot of competition. I do my appointments with an RPR report, and I've uploaded some marketing materials in there. I take a purchase agreement, because you never know when you're going to find an investment property. And believe me, you can buy even when you think you can't buy. So if you can get it at the right price, I take a purchase agreement, a listing agreement, an RPR. And then I also have something which it's not really a legal document. We call it an open listing agreement, and it's really a marketing agreement. So it says, not that I represent you, but if I can market your house out there on social media in various different places, and if I bring you a buyer, then you will pay me a commission. And that's a way of capturing leads. So I take those 3 documents with me as far as listing agreement, purchase agreement, and open marketing agreement. And I do not leave usually unless I get one of those 3 signed, unless they're just no, thank you for your time. I mean, there is a solid no that can come in there, and that's fine too, because usually good comes of it. But 4 documents, RPR, and then those 3 agreements.
And the RPR has no price in it?
No, when I meet with them, I bring that information.
Okay. If you get it to them, there'll be no price point. And then will you check in after you send that RPR with no price point to see if they actually want? Is that when you're kind of going for the appointment?
Yes, follow up is key. So I do follow up for, I don't know, I've only been doing this for a month or so now. So yes, I follow up probably indefinitely, because they're on campaigns and different things, but I don't know when they'll, when I'll stop following up.
Will it be a personal fault? Like, will you look at leads differently and as far as full phone number submissions versus an email, some partial information type of stuff?
I do data mine, so I make sure if something comes in, I go find the rest of the information. I use Prospect now. I don't know if that's the best option, but I data mine for additional information. So for a partial lead, I go seek out emails and phone numbers to make it a complete lead.
Awesome.
And then I just alternate. I mean, I don't know if there's a method to the madness. I'm definitely not going to sit here and say it's the best. I'm happy with the results, but I can't wait to hear from, others on some better ideas. But I just alternate calls, text, emails, and just bring value. I just try to bring value and stay in front of them.
So you say belly to belly. Will you leverage, because I know you use BombBomb in the automation, will you leverage personal BombBomb emails?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. I put them on, and none of this has come to fruition. Truly, the ones that I've taken right now at this point are within the first 3 to 7 days, getting them on the phone, or a lot of them I've just set appointments via text because they don't really want to talk on the phone. So everything that I've gotten to date, because they just haven't been in there long enough to nurture, but to date, it's been just setting that appointment and getting in front of them. I'm sure in time, it takes probably 30 to 45 days to see if the campaigns are going to bring any fruit. So maybe I'll have some more information on that. But at this point, it's really just been go after the appointment, get in front of these people, stay in front of them. If you drop the ball, if you try to reach out to them once, you're missing the low-hanging fruit. Day one, if you don't, maybe if you get to them immediately, they might be ready because they were just searching online. But think about your behavior when you're searching online. You're like, ooh, I want to buy a new car, or I want to buy something, and you're looking at it, and then all of a sudden your kid's crying or whatever, and then that car salesman calls, and you're like, no, I don't want to buy a car. Leave me alone. These people are the same way. So maybe you got to catch them tomorrow on their lunch break or whatever, so they're back in that mindset. And maybe day 2, they're still not ready. But maybe on day 7, they're like, oh yeah, I did fill that out. Okay.
Well, and that's why we're finding also that, adding in the ability to pepper them essentially on Facebook, right? And something else we teach all the time is, building one of those lists, right? So you find them on Facebook, you build them into that list so that you're not just relying on constant text and emails. You're getting your face with information on their particular market in front of them on every 2 weeks or once a month at least, right? Where you're posting something relevant to that particular market. And I think that if you guys get in the habit of doing that, what you're going to find is exactly that. The people who were hot and ready right now, but maybe you missed them, they need a little bit more time now to be nurtured. And I think that if you give them the appropriate materials and not just rely on an email drip campaign, I think that could work. So do make sure that as these leads are coming through, you're finding them on Facebook, which we show you guys through all those courses. It's really easy to do. You're building them into a list appropriate to that particular area, and you're being methodical in your posts. You're posting something to that group at least once a month where it's a video of you explaining to them, hey, here's what's happening in this local market. You're the expert, right? You are the source of information. It doesn't matter what they need, whether it's a home value or information, whether or not they should put solar on their home. It doesn't matter. You have information that they don't have easy access to, right? I mean, look at solar. I mean, for me, is it worth it, me adding solar onto my home? Well, who am I going to check? Who am I going to ask? Am I ask the solar company? I'm guaranteed they're going to tell you it adds value, right? So who do I actually ask? Well, I should ask the people who are actually part of those everyday transactions. Now, that, and then if I'm seeing somebody who's local in my market, who's gaining my trust over time, and I have that question, who am I going to ask? I'm going to reach out to you on Facebook because you're approachable, you're attainable, and you're right there, right? So heavily recommend. If you guys are not finding these people on Facebook and building into those lists, I feel you're certainly missing something.
So anyone have questions? And Misty, that was a question someone asked. Do you send any of those friend requests on Facebook?
I've not been great about that. I do if I get them engaged in conversation, and I haven't set that appointment yet, but I'm close. I do go after that. I have not made it an part of my whatever routine to grab everybody. So I guess
10 listings
sometimes.
in 4 weeks, you get away with it this time, Misty? But.
Yeah. I see. This is why I need to be on here, because I can be even better, and I need to be even better.
It's all about authentic scalability. That's the way you look at it. It's like, how long have you used FirePoint?
Not very long. So our team moved over probably, 90 days ago.
Okay. I know it's a big one, huh, George, in the LCA area? You there, George?
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask her, how do you like FirePoint? Because I'm on the fence with it.
Yeah, I like FirePoint. So we, I'll just throw it out there off subject, but we've had Commissions Inc. I was a big Follow Up Boss fan and actually was kicking and screaming when we moved over to FirePoint, but we did it as a team. And so I was still using Follow Up Boss. And then I was like, this is stupid. I need to be using what our team is using. So I started using it when we moved over, when we started using Streettext, started having all these leads, and I was working in Follow Up Boss, and I thought, this is so confusing. So I went ahead and jumped over, and I'm a fan now. I really like it.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd be happy to talk to you. You can reach out, find
Oh
out
yeah,
Facebook
definitely.
or whatever.
Yeah, friend me.
Awesome. George, how's it going? You said you got in a couple appointments since we last talked, eh?
Oh my God, my head is spinning. So I'll give you the up-to-date stats because everybody, and again, when I share my stats, I've had a couple people reach out to me and say, I'm not getting that kind of lead flow, or my cost per lead is more expensive. And I tell everybody, relax. For every 20 or 30 people I talk to and say, let me know about your market, tell me how many, because I'm very analytical, as some people might know on here. How many agents are in your market? How many homes are listed every 100 or every day? Do you get 100 homes listed every day? Because then you can kind of start factoring on, is this platform going to be good for you? And I think at 29 out of 30 people, I say go all in, try out Streettext, get it before 100 people in your area get it and everything else. And like Mark had said, even if 100 or 200 people get it, will it become saturated? Maybe, but there's so many different angles that you can utilize Streettext. It's still going to be successful. So today, as of today, 39 days on Streettext, I have 148 leads at a cost of $3.79 per lead. So it's gone up since the last webinar I jumped on. I think I was at $2.95, which is fine because it happens. It's a slow time of the year in my market and everything else. So my total ad spend, $478.52. The great thing is now I'm coming up on my 6th or 7th listing appointment. Got a successful one yesterday. Husband is talking with wife, and it could be a triple. When I say triple, they have 6 assets, and they're thinking about unloading between 1 and 3 of them. One's currently on the market with their old forever agent. And then after my presentation, he goes, click on my listing. Tell me what's wrong with it. And I didn't say anything bad about the agent and everything else, but I'm like, oh, pictures, marketing, no video, no 3D Matterport, checked off everything. And then I didn't even reach out to him with an updated CMA. His house is $700,000 that he called us on the Streettext lead on or clicked on. And now it's potentially a $1.7 million triplex and also a $400,000 golfing community condo. So right there, even if I get one of them, it pays for the whole year. Logan, do you guys know what the potential cost in a transaction for an agent is? And I'd like to share this where everybody showed them the benefit because I'm analytical. How much in real estate would somebody need to do or pay? Now, different marketplaces are different in order to pay for Streettext and the $9 a day for 52 weeks. Wow. You guys know?
3,600.
How much?
No, it's going to be, let's say it's about a couple grand for the Streettext system. And then, let's just say additional $3,000 for marketing, right?
Okay. So I broke it down. Yep, exactly. So basically I, in my marketplace, would need to sell one asset. I call, listings are either assets or liabilities. I would need to sell only one property at $235,000 to potentially make $7,050 in GCI in order to pay 25% tax rate in my marketplace with deductions and everything else, pay for the most expensive $200 a month times 12 months for Streettext. But if you pay for longer, you get a discount or price on that. And then $9 a day, 30 days on a month on average times 12 months is $3,240. So all I would have to do is sell one asset at $235,000 and it pays for the entire system for the entire year. I'll be right there. So anyways, with that, all I can say is I'm uber excited, uber grateful. You guys rock. I brought on a teammate because 148 leads came in. I am still behind like 44 CMAs, which is really bad because I take my time and I really try and get face-to-face meetings with these people. And some people aren't here yet. I'm getting into Zoom calls now with everybody who's remote because we're a tourist destination. We only have 370,000 people year round, but in season we blow up to 1.1 million people in my area. But all I can say is, guys, we're all shareholders. Everybody that's using Streettext, we're all shareholders. And this opportunity and this stock and Streettext that we're doing, you guys have an unbelievable return like never seen before. Because already, I'm going to say I'm going to probably close $2 million in real estate in the next 45 days, just off Streettext.
Boom! Drop the mic.
You right?
That was awesome.
I got to go, unfortunately, but I will be back, guys.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. After Misty and George, it's kind of hard to follow up on that one. Anybody else?
Leon's always got some gold for us.
How you doing there, Leon?
I've been laughing. I've been taking calls from my call center for the Streettext stuff, so I probably won't have numbers for another 30 or 40 days, but I finally got all the Streettext leads uploaded into my call center, and I have them calling. And I just had a guy call me to ask me, was this legit call he just got from somewhere, because they said that they found him in my website, they'd registered, and I just talked to the guy about 2 days ago, and I said, oh, actually it is. I've just got people don't follow up, so basically we don't drop the ball on anybody. So like I said, Julie's doing well for me. It's starting to pick up, but probably like I said, in the last month, I finally started getting the stuff in there. I got day 1 and day 3 with videos. So I had a question, Marcus. It's pretty easy. If they open day 1 and 3 and it's a bomb video, would I get a notification that they opened the video?
You just have to track in the recording. You have to send personal videos, I think, or you may be able to track it. You may be able to track it through the BombBomb extension. But
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But I think it would have to be through your Outlook or your Gmail where you actually, if you send a video, that's the way to track it.
Yeah, those do. But I was just wondering because I set up day 1, day 3 using BombBomb, and I wasn't sure because I haven't seen a response back, but I've seen activity. So I was like, wow, that's really strange because I'm so used to getting things back because of the BombBomb extensions.
Yeah, I know. Well, because you'll see if you go in the email section if it's been clicked on, right, and seen. So you can tell there right off the bat. Outside of that, I mean, I always say like always ask a question in every single one of those so you get a reply. Don't just
right. I just the reason I asked that is I know everybody else using BombBomb might have been 1 or 2. Why am I not seeing anything? And so I don't want I'm asking that because I don't want it to be thought that nothing's happening with my day 1 and day 3 when there's a place. So I'll go check that.
Yeah, and then if you have any questions about that, send it our way, and also send it to support@streettext.com, and we can have our tech guys look into it.
Yeah, I'm trying something different because my Streettext won't import automatic. I was using Zapier trying to put it in my CRM and it won't go into my Real Geeks. So I'm trying to put the Streettext into my Lion desk and let it cross-load into my Real Geeks system. So that should be done this week, and then I'll be fully able to concentrate on what I'm doing.
I wanted to throw something else out too. I forgot. This was actually very cool. 2 of the properties that I listed, I didn't even meet with the people. And that's very unusual in our market. I don't know that I've ever done that too many times, but 2 of the leads that I got, I called them and they just were kind of, I don't know. I could tell they wanted to sell, but they were just, it was objection after objection. And when I got through all the objections, the biggest objection was, it's just too much hassle. All of this is too much hassle. One of the ladies was out of state. And so I don't fear going for what they want. What these people ultimately wanted was to list their house, to get it on the market or to get it sold, but they didn't have the time to meet with me and do all that. I will list a house all day long without seeing it. And, we'll deal with the rest later. But I just wanted to share that because really, if you're really digging into what, I couldn't get past this one lady's objections. And finally I asked, what's going on? I'm in California and I'm really sick and this house is a burden and all y'all want to do is get inside of it and take a look at it. I said, look, I can list it without meeting with you. What do you need to make out of it? Let me run by the neighborhood, take a look, whatever. Sent her a listing agreement and did it that way. So just don't underestimate the value that you bring and really handle their objections. And sometimes they just need to get stuff done and they don't have the time to even meet with you. So I forgot. I just wanted to share that because I was like, wow, this just happened twice.
Can I just ask something?
Yep.
As you maybe remember, Logan, I actually have my ad on hold right now, and I had an ad that was performing really well. I'm back now in business. I'm starting in a new market, and I've got so much kind of on my plate right now, and I'm hesitant to start my ad again because I'm feeling like I can't service the leads that come in. So I just want people's advice or experience. What would you think is better, to just have an ad running, keep those leads until you can get to service them, or just keep it on hold until you've got a system in place to be servicing them properly?
I'm sure we're going to have some other recommendations, but what I would recommend is certainly always have an ad running, clearly, but figure out the appropriate lead flow based on what you can manage, because what we suggest is $9 a day to kind of get people going. But if what you're finding is that it's causing an uncomfortability, if you're finding that, hey, I can happily, service 1 or 2 leads a day and you're getting 5 or 6, well, that's going to cause this feeling of being overwhelmed, which means you're going to be able to service those 1 or 2 less, right? You're going to do it improperly. So what I would recommend is, instead of saying, hey, I'm not going to spend any money right now until I discover this, what I would do is I would lower that ad budget to a point where you're instead of having the tap on full blast, you're having a trickle where you're able to kind of, figure out what's happening while still renewing that database and adding to it all the time. And then as things, start going the direction that we all expect, then you start increasing that ad budget. But I feel that, since this is, sometimes it can be a little bit cyclical, in what I mean by that is the people who are coming in today aren't necessarily tomorrow's clients. They're next year's clients oftentimes. So if you turn that tap off entirely, what you're going to find is you're going to end up with a huge lull later down the road. So I would suggest, like I said, open that tap slightly, become comfortable with your follow-up, start getting those conversations, and then just build and build and build. And we use Donna as an example of that, right? I mean, she's got multiple ads going. I think she's got 6 or 7 ads going at $10 to $15 a day each. And if she had come in and said, hey, I want 6 ads at $10 a day each right now, I guarantee you she probably wouldn't have stuck with Streettext even, because she would have been so overwhelmed that things wouldn't have gone the way that they have for her. She started with 1 ad at $7 a day. She built and grow. She turned her ROI, right, and reinvested a certain percentage of that. And now she's to the point where 2.5 years later, she's absolutely killing it because she has systems in place to follow up with everybody appropriately. So the best suggestion I could get is certainly, like I said, do not stop altogether, right? But slowly build and increase that ad spend so that you're building your systems behind it so that everything kind of meshes together well.
Yeah, because even $1 a day, the thing is you want to have a presence. You don't want to sit there and have to reboot and wind back up. You want to already be there, and you can always increase your ad spend later, but at least they're finding you. Because the bottom line is it only takes that one. You might have somebody in the middle of the night, that $1 million deal walks in the door, and there you are. You want to get it. I have clients like me for the listing houses. I list houses from people in Germany, Japan, Korea, all the time because my military stuff. And I've never seen them, never met them. I even did a buyer deal last year. I never met the buyer and did the whole deal. So, the internet's 24/7, business never sleeps. So at least if it's out there and they find you, the funny thing is also like me, because most of my stuff I'm doing for leads, I give up my buyer leads, take a 25% referral to the folks in my office, and I press on, and that frees me up to deal with sellers, which is what my primary want is, because our market is just still, we've got about a month and 3 weeks of inventory at any given time right now, and people do the happy dance just for that. So, to be found and even to give a referral, that's just still going to give you a better return on your investment. The way I look at it, pays for my advertising, pays for my costs.
Good point, Leon.
And one other thing that I want to say, Tammy had mentioned, running a split test and everything like that. And sometimes it's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to build 2 ads, 3 ads, 5 ads, and maybe one of them doesn't hit. But for those who've come to our live training recently, the one thing that I'll say is consider this. You have a deck of cards. You're trying to find the ace. What gives you more of an opportunity to find that ace? If you pull 1 card or 2 cards, or if you pulled 10 cards? Your percentages are much greater. And every time you build an ad on Facebook, what happens is they test a test audience of 500 people. As soon as your ad reaches those 500 people within that test group, you have your cost per click set, your relevancy set, and Facebook determines how easy it is going to be to find you that a good audience based on that test group. So if, for instance, you launch, let's say 3 ads, the first 2 hit the improper test group, well, your cost per click is going to be high. Your performance expectations are going to be low. But if that 3rd ad, even though if it's identical, the fact of the matter is if it hits the appropriate test audience, that ad is going to perform better long term. So if you build, like I said, 10 ads that are all identical, let them run for at least 24 hours. That's the other thing that I was going to mention. We also had a conversation with Facebook recently, and we were told you do need the Facebook stats can be a little bit inaccurate within the first 24 hours. So you want to make sure that ad runs a full 24 hours before making any decisions on it. But as soon as that 24-hour period is up, you have an opportunity to then look at the metrics, figure out the direction it's heading, and if it's not going well, kill it. So like I said, build 10 ads that are all the exact same. One of them is going to, almost for sure has to tap into the right audience. These ads work in 98.9% of the places that we test them in. So build as many ads as you can. You're going to spend a little bit more money in those 24 to 48 hours, fair. But then what happens is you find that one that works, you pause all of the other ones. You now have one ad that you should be able to ride for well into the future.
Logan, would I build them all the same ads all at the same time, or should I scatter them
time-wise? Absolutely at the same time. Build one, go back to funnels, build another one, go back to funnels. And I would probably even play with the imagery a little bit. Do one that's satellite, one that's map plus terrain, one that's zoomed a little further back, one that's zoomed in a little bit more. Even if you created the exact same ad in both, targeting, imagery, and everything. If everything's identical, you're still going to find what works. But if you change a few things subtly, I feel that you're even more so likely to find what you're looking for. But certainly run as many ads as you feel comfortable running. Keep an eye on them, 24 hours minimum, but you shouldn't need more than 48 hours, I'd say is the absolute max to understand the direction a particular ad is headed.
Hey guys, and try the seller equity ad conversion. It's not too far off the seller property valuation conversion, right? When you look at the stats on there, on the cost per lead, cost per email, cost per phone, I think it's a worthy one to try, the equity conversion one. I also think, just keep your eyes on the stats. I also think on the bottom, what's your home really worth is a good one to try, because you're also looking at a cost per phone, cost per email, and cost per lead very similarly. So those are two variations that I would try on top of the seller property conversion. And they're both the conversion templates, but this one's the one, what's your home really worth? And then this one up here is the seller equity ad and the seller property valuation conversion course we know, right? So I would say, don't be afraid to get outside the template if those two templates are slight variations of them. Cool, guys? All right. Misty, thank you so much. That was so awesome. I really appreciate you. Leon, as always, everybody who participates.
Richard had a question here real quick.
Richard, ask him.
I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm looking at my Streettext thingy, whatever you call this.
Dashboard?
Dashboard. When I go to the contact and I go to follow-up success, I can choose if it's done or I can skip it. Is there a way I can add a field in there, like bomb, so I can track who I set the bomb to or not?
Look above that task list. There's a little button that says add task.
Yeah, but that doesn't, when I click on that, it's like a reminder, but it doesn't go into that category, if you know what I'm talking about.
I'll look through your account for you and I'll send you some information on that. But if you click add task, you should be able to call that task whatever you want. And it should create a little button for you to then.
Yeah, you see that? It won't go under this category.
We'll work with you on that, Rich. We'll look into your account and we'll work on that.
Maybe what I'll do, Richard, is I'll go in and see if I can create that for you on my side. If I can't, then what we'll do is you and I can do a quick screen share, and that way, we can certainly address that. That doesn't seem like an issue at all.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a couple calls here. As soon as my next few calls wrap up, I'll reach out to you personally, and we'll get you all squared away here, Richard.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I know we're 10 minutes past, so I don't want to take your time. So I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys. Thanks, everybody.